Hi there, welcome to another Team Clueless Battle Report. You join us at Shay Kelly. It is Mark over there versus myself today. We are playing another 7th edition game today, and we are using the Maelstrom missions. What's our Maelstrom mission called today, Mark?
Cleanse and Control.
Cleanse and Control. It's one where you have 3 of the Maelstrom mission cards, and at the end of each turn you can discard one, same as normal, and you always start the turn with 3, so you always draw up to 3 each turn. Our objectives are placed. If you can do some pointing for us, Mark.
Absolutely. We've got for nice order, so we've got
1 there.
2
there.
3 4
in the centre.
5
Hiding over there.
and 6.
6 hiding back here. As you can see, we've set up our armies already. We'll go through those in a moment. Any other pre-game stuff we need to do? Psychic powers. So I'll do my army now. Why not? So I'm playing Grey Knights today. As usual, I'm using my red vehicles with my Crimson Knights, I'll call them today. So 1850 points. I decided to take Grey Knights because of all of my 40k armies. This one has probably changed the most in 7th edition. I mean, they released an FAQ at the start of last week, which basically rewrote the Grey Knight Codex, deleted all their psychic powers, so none of the ones that are in their book are at all relevant. So all the squads come with set psychic powers from the new Demonology Sanctic table. So I wanted to try them out just to see how they would go. And I've gone for quite a vehicle-heavy army because vehicles are a lot better in 7th, so...
As a powerful generator.
Yeah, and I have a Dark Angel Libby and 5 scouts and a power field generator in a Land Raider.
Libby's your powerful with the broken cheese.
Yep, yeah, I wouldn't take one, Mark, would you? Yeah. We're both playing Dark Angels today, there's a bit of a shocker. So, my army today consists of Courtiers. He has a squad of henchmen with him. He is in a Land Raider Crusader with extra multi-melter. The henchmen are 5 Default Assassins, 2 Crusaders, 1 Psyker. You can basically pay 10 points now for a level 1 Psyker, so bought one of them. You only really get 1 per squad because they count as a Brotherhood of Psykers, but 1 point of psychic power for 10 points seems good. And then I have 3 Melter Gun henchmen and a lone henchman on his own. So they're all packed into the Land Raider there. The Land Raider also has in it the Dark Angels Librarian, because you can now share transports in 7th edition, and he has a power field generator which gives a 4-up invulnerable save, and because they have again rewrote the FAQ or deleted parts in the FAQ, it again goes back to the fact that it can extend 6 inches from its hull. So my Land Raider sitting there from my deployment extends a 4-up invulnerable save to all the vehicles nearby. The Grey Knight vehicles, so the 2 Rhinos and the Land Raider, one of the psychic powers they comes with that they can cast to give themselves +1 to their invulnerable save. So my plan here is to basically give all the Grey Knight vehicles Storm Shields. So that will hopefully be quite powerful unless Mark pops them all turn 1. So let's move on. The 2 Rhinos that I just spoke about each have 5 Purifiers in. They have 1 hammer on the Sergeant and 2 Psy Cannons in each. The Purifiers have now got Hammer Hands still, which increases their strength. And the other psychic power they get is a Nova power that they can fire out the hatch of their Rhinos, so that's quite useful. I have 2 different Chimeras. The one here has 5 henchmen in with bolt guns, and it has a 10-point Psyker in again. The one over here has 1 Jokero in, 1 10-point Psyker, and 1 4-point henchman with no upgrades. We then have 2 Dreadnoughts, each with Cybolt ammo and twin autocannon, so the classic loadout. Moving over here, we have a squad of 5 Terminators. They have 1 Psy Cannon, 1 Hammer, 2 Halberds, and I have an Inquisitor there in Terminator armour with a Psy Cannon, and he's a level 1 Psyker. As far as psychic powers goes, Courtiers went on telepathy, didn't get particularly brilliant powers. I've got invisibility on one of the dudes in a Chimera, not brilliant, and shrouding on the other dude in a Chimera, again not brilliant. I have prescience and misfortune on my Dark Angel Librarian, and this guy over here has prescience and precognition, one that lets him re-roll his armor save when he gets it cast, so that's quite nice on a 2+ save model. You can see these are all in the transport, so I'm not reserving any units this game. So let's see what Mark is bringing.
Right then, Clueless fans, this is my army list then. So this is a 40-man conscript squad. In there, that guy stands out quite a bit, is Azrael. That guy there is 1 priest. I have 2 priests, and somewhere in this box, there he is, Commissar Yarrick, because I think he's brilliant.
I'm glad we're not bringing out the cheese today, Mark. I've got a Storm Shield armed Land Raider, and you've got a 4-up save conscript blob.
It's for winners, isn't it? Hey. Technically, I could have gone for trying to get some Grey Knights in there to go for Santic as well. Right, this is a, Wyvern, because it's really good now. I have my platoon command squad, just 5 man, no upgrades. I have a 10-man infantry squad. They have the mortar. I have a infantry squad with an autocannon. I have a Wavering Command Squad and a Librarian on a bike. They've got powerful generator, all specs, and melter bombs on the Librarian. And the squad has the Dakar banner, one grenade launcher, and the Apothecary. I have my 3 rhinos. They're all full mans. I've got one with a last cannon flamer. 2 have got multi-melters, melter guns. And I finally have a small Wavering Wing bike squad. They just have double melter. So all I've got to do is hope Cody doesn't seize on me.
So shall we do the old seize? So I have Cody here, so I get to re-roll the seize dice. So
You could just roll 2.
No, this is more tension this way, Mark. More tension.
Oh.
He was nervous there for a second.
I was.
Oh yeah!
Christ's sake!
Okay, so this is Grey Knight turn 1. As we just saw, I stole the initiative from Mark, always the way. I had moved forward. Mark had scouted his bikers over to behind this big pillar. I decided to move around my Grey Knight Terminators here. I didn't have very good lines. I could only get my Stormbolters, who are at the front of the unit, onto one of the bikers, and my 2 Psy Cannons could only shoot at another one that was on the other end. The Psy Cannons killed the one, and then my Stormbolters heroically killed the other 2, which is quite nice. So first blood to me. Quickly go through objective cards I drew that turn. So I had the score objective marker 6. That's quite handy as it's sitting right there. The other 2 not so good. If I could get a unit into Mark's deployment zone, or 12 inches from his table edge more precisely, I'd get a point. And if I could cause him to fail a pinning, morale or fear tech this turn, I'd get another point. Unfortunately, those 2 were not quite doable. I was trying to force a few morale checks on him, but couldn't get them any done. So that was there. I went to the psychic phase. I cast a free up invulnerable save, or a +1 to my invulnerable save on the Land Raider and the 2 Rhinos. So I got those through, and I'd cast Prescience over here on the Terminator squad, and that was probably the reason I managed to kill Mark's bikers. Other than that, I fired at his vehicles to not a whole lot of effect. Mark has, similar to myself, got his Librarian hiding behind his 3 Rhinos. So I fired 2 Psy Cannons there, 2 Psy Cannons there. We had a Las Cannon over here. We had a Cypherman Dreadnought up here. We had the multi-melter from a Land Raider. We had the multi-laser from the top of that. Basically all fired into the Rhinos, and all that firepower got me was 2 hull points. So not special. He is immobilised, that Rhino, on the end though. Other than that, I fired this Cypherman, who's just in range of the top of the what's that called? Wyvern over there. I managed to get a hull point on it, but did nothing else, which was a bit annoying. But it's not really much of a threat at the moment. I'm out of range with my Terminators, and everything else is in a vehicle, so it's not too deadly just yet. But as soon as I start to pile out my transports, it will start to lay waste to me, no doubt. And my Hurricane Bolters and the front guns on this Chimera killed about 7 of your cultists. Sorry, I'm doing it now. 7 of your conscripts. Yep. Mark's entire line across this board has a 4-up invulnerable save, so pretty reliant on the saving throws versus any weapons you fire at them, which is nasty. So we decided on this battle report that at the end of each of our turns we would do which cards our opponents drew, so you can see what their tactics are going to be for the next turn. So do you want to go through what you got, Mark?
Yeah, not very interesting ones, unfortunately. Score 1 victory point for issue a challenge, which I can't do because it's only turn 1. I get Assassinate. I score victory points for killing characters. It can be D3 if I can kill 3 characters. And score objective 2, which is this one I already control.
So that's quite nice.
1 give me and 1 difficult.
Similar to mine, basically.
Yeah.
Which is always good. One rule we'll quickly state we're using, and we'll probably be using in all our battle reports, is that if we draw a card that is completely impossible, not impossible for that turn, but if during the battle that we are playing is an impossibility, so in this game, neither of us have fly, so if either of us draw the objective card, which is kill a flyer or flying monstrous creature, I'm not even sure there is that objective card, but if that did exist and we drew it, we get to discard it and draw another one. Just because we feel it adds a bit of randomness to the game that is unneeded if you can just draw cards which are completely useless due to army composition. Things like the destroy an enemy fortification when the opponent doesn't have any to destroy just seem a bit crap. So just so you know, we're ignoring those cards and redrawing if we get them. Let's see what Mark can do on his turn 1.
Right then, guys, so again on my turn 1. So as you saw, I was attempting to assassinate some characters, and I also scored this objective. So in order to do that, I pushed my 2 Rhinos up here, and I moved my bikers around a little bit. I could only get a couple of Plasma Talons into range, but with a little bit of lucky shot, I have managed to kill the Terminator captain, and I think I killed one other Terminator down there. So that's pretty good. Oh, they need a leadership test as well.
They do.
Are you rolling that now live?
Yeah, I'll put you do that now live.
I see a 6.
Yeah, okay.
I saw the 2.
Excitement building.
Right, I ordered my blob squad to run up just because I want to make sure I'm contesting that objective, and these guys pushed up, so I wanted to make sure I had objectives secured on this objective. Tempted to precision shot these guys, and the Terminators did nothing. My one probably magic moment of the match, this last cannon managed to fire, and even though vehicles are incredibly difficult to kill now, even with a 4+ invuln, I managed to one-shot the Chimera. Guys got out, and Wyvern does what Wyvern does. And the remaining guys that weren't killed in the explosion were
Any
killed.
infantry that I get on the board are just going to die to the Wyvern.
So that was pretty good, and actually that kind of made my turn reasonably good in the end. I managed to get Assassinate because I killed one character, but I didn't get the D3, and also managed to get Secure Objective 2. And I didn't bother casting Psychic Power because I just wasn't worth risking the peril. Mr. Hall, let's go through.
Yes, so I discarded one. I discarded the one which is Mark Fail Morale Chest with Azrael on the board. He's unlikely to. All his Dark Angel models are leadership 10, and his blob is obviously got Commissar Yarrick in it, so he's not going to fail there.
And it's Fearless.
And it's Fearless as well, because Azrael's in there. So I got a new one which is D3 objectives. If I control 3 objective markers at the end of my turn. 2 I've already got, which is quite handy.
And that.
So the 2 options are the 4 in the centre of the board,
which is down here.
and the 3 over here, which is probably the more likely, because the other one I got is I need to kill an enemy Psyker this turn. So Mark has his Psyker in his unit of bikes, so I'm basically going to put a load of fire on the bikes and try and wipe them off the board this turn.
Yes.
So we shall see how I get on.
Interesting enough, though, obviously, pushing on to objectives, which normally I wouldn't necessarily have done, but because I knew that you could get score, objective 4, etc. I really want to make sure I contested, so it did prove to be useful. Right, let's see how you do.
Okay, so it's end of Grey Knight turn 2. The turn didn't seem to be going well, but the end of the turn has cheered me up no end with the objective shenanigans, so it shows how important they are to the game. They're how you win. So, start of this turn, my objectives I was attempting to go for, as you probably just heard on the video, is I needed to kill Mark's Psyker over there. So I moved up over here. I moved up my Terminators, and I moved up this Rhino here and got out this squad of Purifiers, basically so I could move an extra few inches forward to get within range of Purifying Flame, so I could hit Mark's Rhino and Mark's Bikers with it in the Psychic phase, because it does 2d6 Strength 5 hits, which is pretty nice. I moved up the Land Raider and another Rhino behind it, keeping them all within the 6 inches there. These guys over here just shuffled around slightly with the Dreadnought moving a little tad forwards, and these guys up here, they both units moved up a bit so they could get line of sight on such. Over here we ignored all the blob and everything. We decided that this Rhino at the front, you can see it had smoke on top, needed to die this turn because basically I had to get 3 objectives to score the most points a turn, so I had to get this objective. The Rhino was scoring it, so I needed to kill it or the squad inside it if I destroyed it in my shooting phase, so I could then occupy that objective. So I set about doing so. Went to the Psychic phase, did not roll up well. I rolled 7 dice to try and get off, what's that power called? Purifying Flame. 7 dice, needed 2 4+. Unfortunately, I got 1 4+, which wasn't good, so that was a lot of my power dice gone. I then rolled Prescience on my big squad of courtiers and such in. Unfortunately, I only got 2 successes on that, and Mark denied that with his 4 dice, which was, again, a little annoying. Then I managed to get off the power that lets my Inquisitor down here re-roll his saves, and my Land Raider has +1 to its invulnerable save again, which is quite handy. The Librarian from the Dark Angel Librarian is staying inside the Land Raider. We then decided to open fire. We fired our melter guns from Cotiers' squad at the Rhino first of all, got 3 hits, 3 pens, but unfortunately the power field generator that was hiding behind it managed to save it from all hull points dealt to it. I then basically fired most of my army at that one Rhino and didn't do very much to it. No, about to. I fired 3 squads at your bikes. So I fired at the Rhino, didn't do a lot. I got 1 hull point during the shooting phase, and then I assaulted with Cotiers' squad and managed to kill it with lots of attacks from Death Cult Assassins. So managed to skewer the objective, but I really wanted to be in close combat with the squad that was out of the Rhino. Hopefully not killing it, seems unlikely. So I suspect on my next turn, my entire Cotiers' squad is going to be dead due to the Wyvern over there and 40 dudes down here. Firing at the bike squad, which I had to kill, I fired the Inquisitor squad down here and the half squad of Purifiers there. They were quite nice. They went through and they took out the first 3 or 4 models, which also took out Mark's Apothecary, which is quite nice. Because of the setup of Mark's squad, because he had a banner in there, an Apothecary and a Librarian he didn't want to use, he couldn't really look out too much. So that killed those. I then fired my snipers, I think killed another model, and then the rifleman killed the final model, which was the banner, which is quite important due to the amount of tactical Marines Mark's got over here. The banner was so powerful, he'd cleverly hidden it behind all the rhinos, so I couldn't get much line of fire onto it. And then the Land Raider put in a little bit of fire as well. And other than that, I plinked off a couple of Imperial Guardsmen from the rest of them. And that got to the end of my turn, which was quite nice because I managed to get within 12 of his deployment edge. So I scored 1 VP for that. I controlled 3 objectives. So I scored D3 points for that, which was 2. And then I scored 1 point for killing his Psyker. So really good end phase for me. And then Mark got his objectives for next turn, and Mark was not a happy bunny, and I don't blame him because they're not good cards for him.
Yeah, I've got objective 6, which is the one guarded by Cypherman. Mars when
Unlikely to get there, it must be said.
Almost physically impossible, I'd say.
Yeah.
I scored an additional point if I cast a Psychic Power, which he killed last turn.
I just killed his Psyker.
And I do get 1 if I kill a vehicle or monstrous creature.
So that one is doable, but not easy. I mean, as we saw that turn, vehicles are just so hard to kill, aren't they? They're just really survivable. Getting the firepower on them is a hard job.
I've definitely got to try and go for it.
Yeah, so I think you're in a better game position than me.
But you're a lot of points
But I'm a lot of points in. I'm 4 points ahead, and that's 2 good scoring turns ahead.
And
so
also you ditch 3 cards, you're getting 3 cards.
Yeah, exactly. You're only ditching 1 and maybe scoring 1. So yeah, this goes to. I think this is a good example of how the randomness in the deck affects the game a little bit more than the actual game state does, which is, whether you like that type of thing or not, is open to debate, but we'll discuss that at the end of the game.
Alright. So, the end of my turn 2. So, obviously, Kelly kind of got his balls to walls and kind of really hung himself out, so I really need to kind of punish him this turn. All started off with kind of the style of the turn. I only managed to get a 2-inch move through difficult terrain, which meant my charge was going to be a lot more difficult. And as I said, I needed to kill a vehicle this turn. So, I have a Lasken, I have 2 multi-melters, I have 2 melter guns, I've got crack grenades, I've got auto cannons. I haven't even managed to do a single hull point.
You didn't even make me make saves, did you? You just missed ones on every roll. It was ridiculous.
Like 5 ones in a row. So that wasn't my best to start. Yep, so that's done that. They've just done a run. Wyvern was the only thing that did something useful this time was my Wyvern, which has managed to kill 2 purifiers. But
even useful, that wasn't what you were planning, was it?
No.
Scattered like 12 inches.
My plan was to try and kill these guys here, but that unfortunately didn't go very well. So yeah, literally, I scored absolutely nothing. I killed absolutely no models, so this was being a pretty atrocious turn for me. And now instead of him being crippled, he's now going to kill maybe 3 or 4 of my squads here. So not good at all. Cheers. Oh, okay. Sorry, your cards, yes.
Objectives, I've just drawn mine. I've got overwhelming firepower. I get victory point if I kill an enemy unit during the shooting phase. Secure objective 4, which is the one in the middle. Realistically, I'm not going to get rid of 40 blob squad, so that one's not particularly good. And score D3 if I control at least 2 objective markers, at least twice as many as my opponent. So I'm likely to get 1 point out of those.
But you're still miles ahead.
I'm still miles ahead. I'm 4 points ahead. And I'm going to go another one ahead of this turn because I'm pretty well. I hope I'll kill something in the shooting phase unless I roll as badly as you did.
Right, let's see what your turn 3 is like.
Yep. Grey Knight turn 3. Another good objective turn, bad actual turn, but the objectives are what are important. So, start of this turn, I was going for killing one of Mark's units in the shooting phase, and I wanted to multi-assault and kill lots of his scattered Space Marine squads down here. I also had score objective 4, which is in the centre of the table, and score 4 objectives, or double the amount of objectives Mark had, so I need to get hold of 4 of them. So as you can see, I kept these guys back here. We fired in over here. There were a couple of squads on 3 men, which I fired down into, and a rhino over there. I basically did scattering fire from all of these vehicles around here. The Terminator squad, the 2 purifiers that were down there, and the melter guns from that unit just fired to kill a flamer in a squad to assault, so that's unimportant. But that fire down there, I failed to kill anything. I think in the shooting phase I killed 3 models, was it, Mark?
Something like that, yeah.
Yeah, I killed a couple of members of this big squad by firing this Chimera in, and this guy killed 1 model over there. I need to kill like 2 to get a leadership check on them, but I can only kill 1 with my Cypherman. Failed to pop any of the vehicles, so I didn't kill anything in my shooting phase, which is pretty bad. Psychic phase, on the other hand, was much better. I'd positioned both my Purifier squads, the one that was out the vehicle and the one that's inside this Rhino, and I managed to get off one of the Psychic Flame things. Which does, I was in the centre of his army and I hit, I think, 6 or 7 of his units, maybe 6 units. 2d6 strength 5 hits is a lot of hits. So that was really nice. Did quite a few wounds with that. The other one failed. I failed another 7 dice looking for 2 success psychic checks, which was a little annoying. Other than that, I got the invulnerable save off on the Land Raider, and I failed to cast something else as well. Can't remember what else I failed to cast. I think Prescience I failed to cast again. Then we went to the assault phase. The Terminators over here managed to get an assault in and wiped out one of the squads of Space Marines. My 2 Purifiers are down here. I had a Hammer Sergeant at the front of the unit and a Psy-Cannon at the back. I decided I wanted to tie up Mark's objective secured unit, so I rolled for the charge. Mark Overwatch killed my Hammer dude, which is unfortunate, and then I've got in combat with a Psy-Cannon, and we're now locked there, not doing a whole lot. Cotes' squad was, I think, worked out I was just 3 inches away from either of these 2 units, which I was trying to multi-charge this turn. I rolled a 1 and a 2, minus the 2 for the difficult terrain, gave me a 1-inch charge, which was not cutting it in anybody's book. The -2 is definitely worse, especially on smaller charges than the old system of roll 3, pick the lowest 2. So not a brilliant turn for me, but then we get to the objective part. So I scored this one down here for 1 point. I then have scored this one, the centre one, and the one over there, giving me 4 to Mark's 2, giving me another D3 victory points. I rolled a 6, so I got another 3, so that's 4 more victory points that turn, which is a huge swing. The turn wasn't going well, and Mark and I were saying that it's quite good for the game that I didn't do well that turn. But with that victory point roll at the end, the D3,
I think you're out of reach.
I think I'm probably out of reach by now.
I'll fight it.
That's it. We shall see. Mark still has his blob squad, which is more dangerous than any of my squads on the board. And he's actually got quite a few units of Space Marines left as well. So we'll see what happens. And Mark's objectives. What have you got for your turn, Mark?
Yeah, not great again. So I still got objective 6, which I'm never going to get.
Objective 6, just awful for you.
I get a victory point if I get a vehicle, which I'm hoping I should do.
Yep.
I got secure,
I thought that'd be easy though.
and I got secure objective 3, which is this one. So I've got to get rid of 2 decent units.
2 objective secured units of my own.
Yeah.
Not impossible though. You've
be
certainly
tough.
got all your firepowers in the vicinity, and you've still got your Wyvern, which can just wipe out squads on its own.
Yeah, if there weren't Terminators, I'd be alright.
Yeah.
3 Terminators, I haven't got the AP necessary to punch them.
But technically, only 2 Terminators. The rest aren't really in range of the objective, so
True, actually,
that's
yeah.
not so
No,
bad.
It's a valid point.
Yeah, I mean, Cotes' squad isn't the easiest to wipe out, but you do have a blob. Let's see what happens.
Wait, yes. Hello there, guys. Okay, end of my turn 3. So the blob squads will move down here. My whole point was just trying to set myself up a nice little market charge. I was going for these guys, I was going for the Coyote squad, and I was going for the tank. As you can tell by the fact that I'm not in close combat, I managed to roll a 2, giving me a 0-inch charge. So
story of the game.
yeah, charges have not been my friend this game. Down here, probably my share and joint honours with my las cannon. Well, I'll come to that in a second. For hero of the match, Wyvern has fired down here. They've done a real number on Coaches' squad. I've killed a good 4 or 5 of them now. So there's only sort of
4 people at Cotes taking 2 wounds.
yeah. So that squad certainly doesn't have the power. Or I'm no longer as afraid of it really, because there's only 1 Death Cult assassin to kind of mash me up. Terminators, I managed to kill 1 Terminator. Other than that, wasn't particularly great. Las Cannon, he's done a nice little job for me. He one-shotted the vehicle again, so that's the second one on the trot. Killed 1 guy in the explosion. So that is all my shooter phase really did. Unfortunately, my failing of assault was pretty bad for me. So that means I scored 1 point for Big Game Hunter, getting an objective.
Won an assault, mate.
I won an assault. Sorry, yes. I managed to kill the side cannon on his own with my 3 dudes. Yay, go me. So I got that assault there. So I'm currently sitting on score objective marker 3, which is the one down there, and Curly has drawn his objectives.
So I kept from last turn. I have the score points if I kill somebody during the shooting phase, which I should be able to do. I've still got 2 Cyclemen and such, but they have been appalling this game. I have Kingmaker. If I can kill Mark's Warlord, or have killed him so far this game, I get D3 points. There's a lot of points tied up in that, but I'm nowhere near getting close to Azrael, so that one will be ditched at the end of my turn. And I have score objective 6, which is a bit of a gimme as it's in the corner of my table.
Yeah. So let's see how he gets on.
End of Grey Knight, turn 4. Again, Mark and I were saying earlier, we both just are so ineffective on our own turns. We just can't, no matter what we do, we can't put enough firepower to kill stuff particularly effectively. Well, this time I did kill 2 rhinos, so not as bad as it has been, but I've been whittling them down. So this turn, I opened fire with Cotes has moved over and joined the Terminators for a bit of extra protection from my Warlord. They opened fire, blew up this rhino here, and the dudes got out. I fired 4 dudes with my 2 Psy-Cannons and 2 normal Purifiers, did no wounds, charged in, did no wounds. Job's a good one. I actually don't mind that. I'd have liked to kill a couple and kept them there, but they're kind of like making a nice bottleneck there that you can't really get anybody else involved in the combat particularly easily. So it hopefully going to make a bit of a roadblock because all of these wrecks across here. This squad down here, the remains of Cotier's original squad attempted to melt gun this rhino and did nothing. Over here, my 5 Space Marine scouts fired over and tried to kill this one remaining guy who went to ground and made a 6-up save against the rending shot, which was a nice remark. This Cyberman up here finally managed to crack open the rhino with a lad's cannon in, but they've all piled out the back. Oh, I forget my psychic phase. During the psychic phase, I actually cast 4 psychic powers this turn. The Inquisitor there has re-rolled all of his stuffs. I managed to get +1 invulnerable save on the Land Raider. I cast the Purifying Flame again, which did quite a lot of damage around this area. Knocked out a good 3-4 Space Marines from various squads and knocked out a couple of men from the large blob squad. And the best result was Cotier's did a Psychic Screech and killed all 4 Space Marines that were the remains of a combat squad down there. So that was the best result from the Psychic phase, which is finally starting to kick in now. Got fewer points. Over here, this Cyberman doesn't have a whole range of targets. He's kind of there because he's got a good line of sight and it's blocking a couple of little bits of movement. But he's constantly been firing over these Imperial Guard and killing 1 a turn. This turn he killed 2, forcing a leadership check on them, but they passed. This las cannon here managed to hit and pen against that rhino, but didn't do anything because Mark made his cover save, so I was firing through a giant bit of ruin. And the Land Raider stayed in place and basically fired all of its guns into the big squad, but again, their 4-up save is doing them a good job, and I think I killed maybe 6 models, something like that.
Yeah, about.
So overall, not particularly effective turn, but again, I managed to score 2 victory points. So this turn I managed to score the hold objective 6, which has come up twice for me now, which is always nice. And I managed to score the kill a unit in the shooting phase. I could have picked either of those rhinos to do. So 2 more points for me, which is really nice. Let's see what Mark can do in response. What have you got objective-wise, Mark?
So they're all objective cards. So I've got Secure Objective 1, which is I've got.
Secure objective 1, which is nice for Mark.
Objective 3, which is one we're fighting over.
Yep.
And then 5, which is in your corner.
5 is over there, so those 2 are doable if good stuff happens. You need to roll well.
Yeah, I need a very.
And I don't think you'll be able to do both of them because I think the blob squad's going to have to make a move on whichever one you get. But let's see how you do it.
Well then, guys, that was my end of my turn 4. Kind of needed a big turn, so obviously I relied on my squad to make a charge. So
foreshadowing, Mark. Foreshadowing.
Yeah. Right. So let's have a look down here. Hero of the game, probably is still one of my heroes of the game. He fired down. I was aiming for these guys down here, scattered wildly into my own units. However, due to twin links and stuff like that, I managed to kill 2 purifiers. So that was pretty good. God, the Wyvern is good. Anyone that tells you Wyvern is bad, in a nice possible way, is an idiot. The Wyvern is good.
Yeah, completely agree.
And all that says the psychic phase is broken is an idiot. I'm sorry, but that's true. Psychic phase is nowhere near as powerful as it used to be, other than maybe invisibility. Right, these guys just tried to kill the Acolyte squad, failed to do that. Put some fire into Terminators, failed to do that. Autocannon managed to take a whole point of their Dreadnought and make a snapshot. Hero Las Cannon immobilised a Dreadnought. He has been rocking as well. He's like my second MVP or maybe joint MVP. I'm not really sure. He's killed
more vehicles than every other model on the table put together, probably.
Yeah, he's done pretty well. He's blown up 2 vehicles and immobilised a Dreadnought in 4 turns, so that's pretty good going. Right, my Blob squad, I clearly positioned myself to have like a 4-inch charge at the Terminators. Yep, you guessed it, I rolled a 5. Thus meaning I failed my charge. And I was charging the Acolyte squad and bits and pieces like that. I didn't need a great deal, but if I rolled average, I would have got in. So unfortunately, I think that's been the story of the game. I think 3 out of 4 failed charges to my big squad has massively crippled me.
A couple of them were 7s, but most of them were 4s and 5s.
But all before the 7s were all bad different terrain rolls as well. I rolled like 2 for different terrain. So it's a combination of bad terrain rolls and bad charge rolls. It just meant,
As you were saying during your turn, the fact because you were trying to go for not automatic charges, but close charges, you weren't firing them because there was only a couple of models sticking out. You couldn't fire the squad because you wanted to assault, and that meant you wasted all that firepower all game as well.
It's just mean I've just kind of been hammering.
That squad, what's it done all game? It's put 1 whole point on a rhino. That's the entirety of it that it's done.
That's Yarick, 2 priests, Azrael. It's absorbed firepower, but even then, not a lot. Yeah. You haven't really fired.
I've only fired at it when there's nothing else to fire at.
It just hasn't, due to bad dice rolling. You can't complain about that, and the fact it couldn't deal with a Land Raider as well.
Yeah, I think also the fact that the centre of the ball, because all our vehicles have died there, the centre of the ball is so clogged up.
Yeah,
that it's so hard to manoeuvre. I'm struggling to move through this one set of ruins. Your squad's had issues there as well, and because there's loads of wrecked tanks here, it was putting loads of just blocks on all our movements.
I mean, if we were to look at the end of the game, I think I'm probably points on the board. I'm probably ahead of you.
Yeah, I would say so.
But I don't normally like to whinge about this stuff, but I'd say the cards have probably won you this game.
I'm not entirely certain. The scores at the end were 12-4. I think even if you took away 4 of my points, I'm still double yours. I think they've certainly been helpful, but I've been able to move on to them more each turn. You've been very much stuck in that section of the board over there.
You say that I've had 3 objectives. Well, 2. I suppose 2 and a bit.
Two objectives. I've taken all 4 of those for over half the game.
Reasonably over half the game, I suppose.
I felt you were very much pinned in your corner, mainly because the Blob Squad couldn't get out of the centre of the table, and the fact the Land Raider was more or less indestructible.
Well, yeah, I had that your turn 2, and I had the opportunity. I really should have done a lot more damage down here.
Yeah.
But I killed like next to nothing. I was absolutely nothing.
Yeah, I think you killed 1 model on your turn 2.
Yeah, and I think I think that was probably a hugely pivotal turn. I just really needed to put some hurt on there, but just didn't. But still enjoy playing the objectives. But
they're certainly swingy.
Yeah,
I think it was also I don't like the D3s. Like I had 2 turns where I gained 4 VPs. One of them I rolled a 2 on the D3. One I rolled a 3 on the D. The 3 on the D3 is such a swing.
Yeah.
I'd be much happier if they were just a set at 2.
Yeah.
Because it just makes it less swingy, and that's possibly a house rule we could implement. Just because it makes it less swingy.
It can be hugely swingy, isn't it? It's just
if you're behind and you roll a D3 and you get a 3, then obviously it's helping you. But I just feel I'd prefer to know how many it was.
Yeah, randomness like that is generally does make the game sort of slightly more unpredictable and unfun. As you said, you could be the one that rolls well and it is good for you.
Yeah,
but
that's it.
But so yeah, we'll still continue to play with the mysterious objectives. Probably, I think at least one more game with tactical objectives for us.
Yeah, that's it. I just really like the fact that it makes stuff more relevant during mid-game.
Yeah.
Instead of just sitting there firing your guns for 4 turns and then moving for objectives, the fact that every turn we kind of looked at our cards and you were like, I need to take number 3 this turn. I was like, I've got to take number 4 this turn. And the fact that it forces you to make those tactical decisions, I feel makes just for a more fun game.
Yeah. I mean,
but the fact that you can lose on drawing bad cards is just annoying.
Yeah, I generally.
There was that one turn, I think you got 2 cards you couldn't do.
Yeah.
The one where it was kill a Psyker, no, cast a Psychic Power, which I just killed your Psyker, and take objective 6.
I've drew an objective 6 once, and you've drawn it twice.
Yeah.
Which is, that objective then, that can make a big difference. And I think I've also got objective 5 a couple of times as well.
I think I've only ever had 1 on each turn that I couldn't do,
Yeah.
or was highly unlikely to do. There have always been 2 I've been able to play for.
Yes. Which makes it more interesting, but still, we still like it. You've really felt, I think, 2 things: how much improved the vehicles are in 7th this game.
Ridiculously.
Absolutely.
It took me so long to kill your 3 rhinos.
And just
And the Land Raider was untouched. I mean, that's partly obviously because it's invulnerable.
Yeah, and it helps with the both of us having the 4 up invulnerable made a big difference.
Yeah, our vehicles were really impressive the first couple of turns.
Yeah, and how even with all the psychic powers you had, it's still the psychic phase wasn't.
Yeah, I'd like to make a comment on psychic phase. I mean, last video we had around. I think you had about 8. I had about 12 last time.
I had 6.
6 and I had about 10 or 12 then. This time I had 16 power dice to start the game with. I cast 4 on 1 turn, 2 turns I cast, and the other 3 turns I cast 2 or 3 powers at most. And I was rolling 7 dice to get off my most important powers for 2 warp charge, and I failed 2 of them.
Yeah, and that's bear in mind with me rolling very little in the sense of Deny the Witch. I mean, the most impactful thing was probably Psychic Screech in the squad out.
Yeah, Psychic Screech there. The +1, I'm not sure how much it altered your target priorities. May have done the +1 invulnerable save on the Land Raider. I did it every turn just because I wanted the Land Raider to survive, and I felt with that save it was not going to die.
Yeah, that helped a lot massively.
Yeah, it was kind of the linchpin of my battle plan was the fact that the Land Raider won't die, and I felt it was unlikely to.
I mean, because it had the 3 up, there was always something else machine. I think because from about turn 2 I had destroy a vehicle, so I was putting an awful lot of fire into Rhino to try and pick up that point.
Yeah.
But it didn't happen the turn 2, and it didn't happen I got it on turn 3.
Yeah.
So my thinking was always
go for the Rhino, not the Land Raider. With
so
anti-tank shots you had left.
So that was kind of why I think certainly also means that meant I wasn't going to do a lot into Land Raider because I just had to score the points. Points to win prizes at the end of the day.
Very much so.
So yeah, and that was it. I think. Any further thoughts?
I mean, Grey Knights are different. I'm not sure I particularly like the way. Obviously, it's just the FAQs altered how they work, and They need a new book, because at the minute I've got the Grey Knight Codex here, but half the rules aren't in it, which just annoys me.
Yeah.
And in fact, they've all just got the generic powers, and the generic powers are pretty pointless. They've all got the Hurt Demons power, not particularly interesting. I obviously like the +1 Invulnerable Land Raider, and I like the Purifiers having their powers, but they've lost, all the different units have lost their flavour.
Yeah.
They all the units used to have a psychic power, which they didn't. That gave you a way to utilise that unit.
It's a less interesting.
Yeah, basically, less interesting, and hell, I like interesting.
Interesting is fun.
Yeah, well, that's it.
Right, cheers there, guys. Have a good day.